With all the grim news coming out of Africa, Washington policymakers were pleasantly surprised to learn that a prominent World Bank economist says Africa can help feed Africa if certain barriers to trade are removed. VOA's Carolyn has more.
Prices for basic food staples are rising again. This is bad news for Africans who consume more food than they can produce. Poor families living in cities spend most of their income on food. This issue won't go away as the population in Africa is projected to double by 2020, pressuring demand and prices for food. A leading economist at the World Bank, Makthar Diop, told policymakers in Washington that Africa has the means to deliver food security to its citizens if it changes policies.
Africa can feed Africa. We believe that there is a potential in Africa to really, with the right policies, to be able to increase significantly the production of agricultural goods in Africa, and therefore help African country to be less handle much better all these external shocks that we are facing, and having the poverty impact that we believe a better agricultural policy can have. So Africa can really produce what it needs in terms of food, and should do it. And why it should do it is because high food prices are becoming the new normal.
Diop says if African farmers achieved the same yields as developing countries, then output of food staples would double or triple. Currently, only 10% of fertile land is being cultivated.
We estimated that only 10% of the 400 million hectares of land in Guinea Savannah zone has been cultivated and been used. There are many factors linked to that: very low irrigation, very low productivity, very low access to a certain number of factors of production. But that is something that is currently an obstacle to increasing really rapidly the production of food and increasing the availability of food product in Africa.
For food production to increase, Diop says current food policies and barriers to trade need to change along the food value chain to attract investment.
Another big constraint is the fragmentation of the regional food market and the lack of predictable policy that really have been an obstacle for private investors to invest in Africa in that sector.
Diop says outdated regulations limit access to the best seeds and raise the price of fertilizer. Lack of competition ensures high transport costs and poor services, while export bans and unnecessary permits hit small farmers and traders. The concept of food security has been twisted by special interests that benefit from the status quo. Diop says now is the time to pursue a regionally integrated food market that will deliver more food and allow farmers to keep more of their earnings.
We don't have a common framework for determining the quality of seeds and the availability of seeds. So every country has to have its own regulation for accessing seed of quality. Unifying that market and make it much more unified market and much more competitive market at regional level will lower the cost of seeds and increase therefore the productivity of small scale farmers. We see a lot of export bans, permits, licenses, costly documentary requirements, and all those are listed in our document, and I think Paul will be able to give you some interesting example of how those barriers and those bureaucratic constraints can affect productivity.
Regional political realities prevent immediately moving to open regional food markets. The challenge, according to Diop, is for governments to provide clear policies to promote confidence so the private sector will invest, which allows the government to reduce interference. Presently, farmers arrive at the border to learn that the government has imposed an export ban, or sometimes, if the ban is lifted, the customs officials are uninformed. Diop says export bans are counterproductive and governments must provide clearly defined circumstances under which they will intervene, such as when local food stock falls below a 3-month food supply. The Africa Trade Practice at the World Bank says food trade has yet to be unlocked within Africa, together with its potential to raise income for farmers and enhance food security for all. Reforms need to happen. Carolyn Turner, VOA News.